Robert Chaka is going to lead us in the word of prayer. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Lord, for this Monday morning. We ask that you give our county leadership grace, wisdom, and favor as they lead our county with honor and make decisions that benefit our community and its visitors. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments. We have one person signed up to speak, Jameson Russell. Oh, yeah, you really brought it.
Well, it's all right. Mom was sick last night, so food poisoning, so I had to take her. So I apologize for that, my appearance.
We did not mind that at all.
Okay, well, hopefully she'll be fine. I just wanted to speak on the IT situation. So, I mean, can y'all answer questions or is this just comments for me?
Excuse me,
Can y'all answer questions or just comments for me?
we can't. You can just make comments at this stage.
Okay, copy that. I forget when it was, about 6 months ago. Actually, I'm gonna back up. I just want to say some facts here. So Legacy IT turns 10 years old this year, okay? 6 months ago, y'all's IT gentleman put us 2 weeks in, and our company was not even approached to put in a bid when y'all only received 2 bids that one of which couldn't actually even handle the job that y'all needed to do, okay? We've got a billboard about 500 yards from this courthouse, and we have donated to this town over $100,000 to our 10-year tenure, helping out certain things. I do this out of goodwill, but I do expect at least a call to do this. So what just happened is there was an RFQ that was put out, and had a few talks. I'm going to save names here, but it was told that our RFQ was only about 7 pages, and our competitors was 49. Maybe it was 49 because you also paid this company to come consult you, and not really given an opportunity to do that either. So I will say this about Legacy IT. We're in a small town. We've had struggles here and there, but we take care of over 300 companies. So the idea to feel, it's kind of embarrassing to me to know that my company is considered incompetent to handle my own county's IT. So we take care of just about everybody in this town. As far as business goes, we lead them, instruct them, keep them going, keep them operational, back them up, keep them secure from all of the security threats that's going on right now. And to know that we're considered incompetent to do so is kind of a slap in the face. So the other thing is the proposal. So I still have not seen a proposal. I do understand that for any proposals, you have to have at least 3 bids. I could be completely wrong on that, but I understand that. So I guess through this time frame, I'll still be waiting for that proposal, that request for proposal. We are qualified to know it's not a good idea to run around, y'all's IT, start poking around and trying to understand your stuff better. Plus, I'm not getting paid to do so. So our knowledge of your network and what you actually need is little, okay? But our experience and knowledge and expertise in the technology realm of everything that goes on for the county, is well above anybody's expectations that y'all could ever think of. It's very hard for us to explain what we do, but we've done it, and we do it for the people in this town. I've been a taxpayer in this town, and to know that this may go to an external outside of Brownwood company is alarming to me, and plus we don't even know yet, from what I understand, that we don't even know how much is going to be charged. So there is no RFP at this time. So I'm upset about it, but here's the deal, guys. I forgive everybody. I'm a child of God. Okay, so what I want to do at the end is pray for everybody to make the right decisions and to lead our county. Lord, I ask that you watch over this group of individuals, Lord, that lead us, Lord. And Lord, I ask that you apply to them the strength and the will to make the best decisions for us, the people here to live in Brown County, Lord. In the person's name, amen.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda portion. These are non-controversial routine matters that we typically approve with a single vote. There are 4 items. My understanding is that there are no treasurer auditor reports. Is that correct? So we're only talking about the agenda minutes from the February the 27th meeting, burn ban, and payment of bills. Does anybody have any comments on any of those 3 items? Sorry.
Actually, this one here, I call a treasurer and auditor's report. This one, we have in combined cash position statement.
Okay,
I actually call that a
Okay.
treasurer and auditor's report.
okay. We can certainly file that among the minutes.
Okay.
Does anybody have any comments?
Pretty silent all phones.
That was the 5-minute speaker. Oh, let's turn it off, so. All right, then I'll entertain a motion to
Well, on
approve.
the burn ban,
Okay.
first, I guess, is there just, I know it's, everybody okay with burn ban as it is, not being on?
I'm good.
Okay. I mean, because some of these items might be a little bit of a discussion. Okay.
Got it? Do you have any questions on any of them?
I have looked at the bills and I'm okay with those. I think probably everybody looks like they're good on the burn ban. And, the minutes from previous meetings.
I move that we approve the consent agenda A, B, C, and D.
Thank you. Second. Been moved and seconded, we approve all 4 items on the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They are approved. There are no employee changes. Business to be discussed and considered for approval, mid-year plan review. Mark Johnson.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Bart.
Morning. How are you today?
36.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Right, we do this every year, kind of mid-year, looking at our health insurance to see how we're trending. So my office had a meeting with the Texas Association of Counties last week, and we went through this. Some dates to be looking forward to. They will have, the Texas Association of Counties will meet in May as a group to decide what the actual rate increase is for the Texas Association of Counties health pool. Now, knowing that everybody that's in the health pool, there's a lot of counties in this health pool, which is good. They look at each county a little differently. I mean, as far as your claims and your age, demographics. So they come up with a rate increase of whatever it is. It won't be a decrease, I promise you that. We know that. But then once they come up with the pool itself, what they think they need, then they look at us individually, how are we running, and then we get our rate increase. So, but we won't know what that is exactly until May. Now, the group did tell us that they want to run around 94% claim utilization, premium to claim. They're running at 95%, which is good. Bad would be anything over 100. So that part's encouraging to me with the pool. So let's start in here. I won't go through every page. In fact, the second page is basically plan design. No need to go through that. That has not changed. Just wanted to include that in there. Really nothing to talk about on the plan reviews. Waiting period, we know it's 90 days for new hires. One thing on this next page, under memberships, this page here, kind of gives us a little bit of an overview of average age. And the average age was 39.1, increased by 1%, 1 year older. Females between ages 20 and 44 increased from 17% to 18.5. Nothing earth shattering, it's just kind of some demographics for you guys to review. This next page is pretty earth shattering. This is this one here, claims. So rolling 36 months, you have the top line at February 20 to January 21st, that's 2 years ago. The last year's the middle and this current year. So you can see under the paid column to the right, third from the right, that's paid includes pharmacy and medical bills. 2 years ago, 33.6 million. A year ago, 3.6 million. This year, 4.5 million. And to the right would be the loss ratio. Remember, I talked about 95%, 94%. We're at 120. It's not good. The next page is more detailed month to month, but it's not this. It's actually April. It's not the same time period as this page before I just read, but it gives another look at April and March, April 22 to March. Still running 126% loss ratio. The next page, the top 10 high claimants, and this is typically how this works in any of these groups. We have a lot of large groups, and typically your top 10 claimants are causing most of the damage. And so these are individual payouts per individual. And you can see the highest payout here is $382,000 year to date. That's April 22 through January 23. And we have 274, 240, 174, and on and on. We do have a couple of cancers ongoing, and that's part of it. But one good thing about being in the pool is that they'll spread this risk all over the pool, and we won't have to bear it all by ourselves. That's a real winner for us. Another thing is the next page is on RX claims. The top 10 RX claims. Some of this stuff you may not understand, but basically insulin, the anti-rheumatic agents is Humira. We have several Humiras. The Humira, you see it on TV all the time, it runs $80,000 a year. That's what it costs. And Humira is used for Crohn's disease, it's used for arthritis, it's used for almost anything. So, the drug program, they constantly look at it. Drugs are increasing more rapidly than the medical cost, almost twice as rapidly. So medical claims, medical inflation is running around 7 to 8%. RX drugs are running around 20%. And it's these top specialty drugs is what really gets you. Wellness, we're talking about that. This page here has the little graphs, the blue and green, light blue, dark blue, and green. The green is 2 years ago, and you can see neoplasm is cancer, that first column. The light blue is last year, and the dark blue is this year. So it kind of tells you where your claims, like the next column, circulatory could be heart attack, open heart surgery, whatever. 2 years ago was a lot higher than it is today. So what's driving our claims? You can kind of go through here and see mainly the cancers. That's what this graph are. Musculoskeletal really could be arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, could be back surgery, could be knee replacements, that kind of thing. Chronic conditions on the next page, I won't go through that. It's just kind of self-explanatory. It just kind of shows what's really out there. Coronary artery disease is big, hypertension, which brings up the most important thing today, I think, and Courtney does a great job here at the county on the wellness program. Now, of 143 participants, we've had 68 people participate in an annual physical. Now, annual physicals under your plan are free. They're 100% covered. no deductible. We encourage you to go get an annual physical. It's very important, because we might catch something early that doesn't get out of hand. So we only had 68 of the 143, so that's something we're really gonna focus in on, trying to get people out there. Colon cancer screenings, 15 people. It's free, we pay for it 100%. That needs to be happening. Breast cancer, same thing. So Courtney and Janet in my office and then Mark from Texas Association County work together to spread the word on this, and we'll be having meetings and that coming up pretty quick. Janet, do you know where our first meeting is? Will be after or before?
With Courtney?
Uh,
We have a committee meeting next week.
Next week, so they're on top of this. Courtney does a wonderful job. When we first got started, there was no one involved in any wellness. So,
Maybe we need to give our employees a 3-day off if they'll get
We
this.
do.
well, they do.
They do.
And they do, oh, you brought that up, I forgot about that. They do, and that needs to be, and Courtney will probably do it. There's an email needs to be sent out or something
We
like
need to
that.
talk about that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Get a free day off, go get an annual physical, why not?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything to get an annual physical. So, rest of the stuff I won't go into, it's basically Health County participation, you can read through that. They offer employee rewards. We have all kinds of, things that help them get here. We offer, what'd you offer last year? You buy lunch?
Okay.
People come to these health fairs, we buy them lunch, come eat. Janet does those over at the jail and some over here, not
Mostly over the job.
also over at the jail, but, and they show up, but that's when we spread our word. We gotta do a better job as a county of spreading the word about getting our physical stuff. That's where we are right now. The last 2 months have trended down a little better. We're hoping the next month does, and in May, I'll be back in May, once we have a decision from TAC, and we'll go through this again. I know where we're headed. Any questions? Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
Judge, do we need to tell them that they don't have to wait 90 days on the insurance? And
Yeah, well, we can tell Jen,
Okay.
the brains of the operation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that pharmacy is a lot of money,
A lot.
over $1 million a year.
The thing about the drugs that they're utilizing, I mean, you're getting 80,000 pop for one drug, one person. It doesn't take long to get to them. But they need to be, well, I mean, it helps the people, it works, but it's expensive. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mark. Next on the agenda is consideration and possible approval to declare some old office equipment surplus. This is from the elections.
Good morning. I have some dinosaur equipment. I think I have enough copies, but I think copies. We have several scanners, printers that we would like to declare surplus, and that don't work, and the other ones can go. Here you go, sir.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we have, on the first three, they are computers that are working. They're just taking up room in the back office. When I come into the office, in the back room, we have a lot of stuff that we are not using, and it's just sitting there. So I would like to consider if possible approve to sell it on the surplus, drug deals. The only thing that, we have 4 scanners that we used in the office that were not compatible in 2010. So we are getting rid of those. They do work, they just aren't compatible with our computers anymore. And then we have a color printer that works really good. The B&W printer does not work, so I asked if we just take that to the lake and sink it. It is big. And then we have a laser printer that works. We have a big Samuel color television, and that works if anybody needs that. And then the rest are a printer. I don't know about the keyboard. I don't think we use the keyboards. It's pretty trashy. So there's no Brown County tag on it. So I don't know if we need to do anything with that. So I asked,
Put it in the dumpster.
well, yeah, but we didn't. We just wanted to make sure we.
No,
had
no, no, I'm
permission.
saying that's what we should do with
Yes,
this.
sir. I totally agree with you. So I'm asking you to approve to declare our old office equipment surplus and to sell the surplus equipment on GovDeals.
Everything but the computers.
Everything works except for that one.
The computers, you're gonna have to pull hard drives.
They've all,
They are.
They have to be dealt with differently.
okay,
I mean, you can't, the hard drives have to be,
They've been wiped.
excuse me,
We have
they've all been
software
wiped.
that is totally wiped.
and then they have to be shredded,
Okay,
grounded.
okay.
I'll,
And that's something that I don't know. So as
That's
far as
right.
the computers, everything's been wiped out,
No.
so.
the hard drives still have to be destroyed, in another fashion.
Oh,
Yeah.
good to know.
That's, I mean, I could ask Sam what it is. How do you have to destroy hard drives from computers, Sam?
So sorry, I stepped out for just a moment, so I wasn't privy to all of this, but, if it's equipment that you're gonna get rid of completely, our recommendation would be that it go through the destruction process. We have a machine that we can bring on site. It causes the hard drive, shoots a magnetic pulse through it, so you know that there's nothing left over, and then it physically destroys it. If you format a hard drive, you have to do it like 7 or 8 times at minimum before it's actually gone. So if you just go in and say format drive, that data is still there. So this protects the county and protects y'all moving forward, that if it's equipment that's gonna be decommissioned, we just pull the drive out of it and put it through this process.
I don't
Okay.
have the name of the software
Great.
with me, but it totally wipes several, it's
I'd
kind
rather
of
be
that
safe than
does.
sorry.
Our tech,
Yes, sir.
our deal, it goes through, I don't know if it's 7 times, but I know that it wipes it like 3 or 4 times, right
The
zeros.
printers,
I don't know about the printer.
Yes, sir.
okay.
We can look that with y'all. It may be fine. It's just the safest bet.
It's just the hard drives on.
If it's not something you need to move forward.
Where they,
We doesn't have that.
We can let them look at them. Okay. That's all I have, sir.
Well, I make a motion to declare that these items surplus to begin with.
Yes.
Talk about how to dispose of them.
Been moved last week. Been seconded,
second,
to declare these as surplus.
This list.
Yes, the attached list, Exhibit A. And so, yeah, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Now we can talk about this construction.
Not the one here.
Yep. So we're gonna mark this as,
yeah.
Sorry, Larry.
three. Gary wasn't here last week, or that week. You weren't here that week. Where's the new deal? Well, let's get this thing done first. Let's get this done. Now we're going to consider the possible approval to sell the equipment that has been declared surplus.
I'd make a motion, we sell the surplus equipment that's been, make sure it's been declared safe to sell and not then have to be destroyed on gov deals.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the sale of that Exhibit A, the information included on that on gov deals. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, thank you.
Thank you.
So basically, just the scanners and the printers is okay to keep, to sell, just the scanners and the printers?
You're, sorry,
Yeah, well,
I
I'm
didn't.
asking, well, she's got a bunch of computers on here, so the computers can't be sold, correct?
Our recommendation would be to scrap everything you can scrap that's technology, because it typically doesn't bring more than $10 or whatever, and the risk is higher.
But the scanners and the printers can be sold?
The scanners won't work on Windows 10.
Okay,
That's why we're having to get rid of them.
sure. Yeah, I don't think you can get anything for them, but sure, they can be sold. There's no date on the scanners if that's the concern. Sorry, no, didn't mean to jump in the middle wheels.
No, we're asking you.
Okay,
So
sure.
much.
The television can go, the pen printer. The monitor. Okay.
Is everybody on the same page on that, all of that equipment? Next on the agenda is consideration of possible approval of action regarding accepting Goldsmith Solution IT service contract, which it's not accepting a contract, it is a possible approval of an agreement between the county and Goldsmith Solutions. Just for everybody's edification, this was the result of the RFQ process that the county has been involved in. And there is a technology committee that has been meeting and discussing and considering. And my understanding is that the committee met on Friday morning. I believe Commissioner Kelton and Commissioner Worley were present. I was not, and considered some different scenarios and some different situations, and met with a representative from Goldsmith Solutions to work on a contract. The contract is actually not finalized. There's refining going on as we speak. And so I would suggest that we approve a not to exceed amount in the contract, and then at the same time approve someone, and I would be willing to be that someone, to have the authority to sign that contract once it's worked out. And then we will work, I think we will probably have it by the end of today. The details worked out. There were some changes that we had requested in the contract, in the proposed contract. And Ms. Broughton is working with the attorney for Goldsmith to work on some details. And so we don't actually have the final contract. We know that the dollar amount, but we don't have the actual contract. And so that would be my suggestion, is that we approve the authority to sign a contract on behalf of the county, and then we would have a contract done by the end of the day.
Judge, I have printouts of the revision to the proposal as far as the dollar amount from the Friday Technology Committee, if y'all would like a copy of that.
I would like to see them.
Okay, sure. Is that fine?
Yeah. Okay.
These are what the changes that the county requested. Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I can see that we didn't get the one item I had in mind done. But I said I had one item that I don't see that they actually did what we talked about. I talked to me at less.
Why don't we-
Yeah, they still left it at that. So,
What could you want to elaborate?
my elaboration was what they were talking about, an annual fee for their on-site person and their behind the scenes, all their technology engineers, technicians and all, and I was requesting they not bill that until we actually get this other cost down below 300,000. As they originally proposed to 333. We're still above 300.
So my understanding from the Friday meeting, sorry, I don't want to jump.
No,
in
no,
here.
no, you can go ahead and talk.
Okay, so my understanding from,
Rest of the year.
Commissioner Kelton was, we talked about on line item 4, that was a quantity of 400 hours on Friday. We cut that in half, and that any hours above that would be deferred to projects in the future. And so the original number was 333 for 333, and that reduced that by 30 and some change. Those are the notes that I had from Friday that we discussed. If there's something else, be happy to address it. I may,
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, we had a little miscommunication, I think.
so what was it that you were asking for
I
in
said we need to
addition?
figure out some way to get it under 300. Yeah, so you threw out numbers there. That was my request. That was I'm one individual on this.
No, but no, but that's important. So your concern was that the total amount should have been under 300, is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
And this engineering fee they were throwing in there, my thought is, and this is engineering stuff, it shouldn't be, once we get a lot of these projects done, it should be an ongoing. That should be built into the project, not into the annual.
Well, tell us what you're talking about, just so I know what you're talking
Item 4,
So yes, sir, line item 4,
line item 4, engineering.
on Friday, that was a quantity of 400 hours. And so Commissioner Kelton's point on Friday was to defer any of those hours to projects. That way, when the project's over, the county's not paying for hours that they might not utilize in the future. One of the things that we did discuss on Friday also, just for everyone to know, is this would be revisited as part of the budget workshop every year. And so we can move some of those costs around. If we need to reduce that by another, let me do some math here.
about. So you wanted that 200 to be less than 200,
Well,
is that what you're saying?
I'm trying to get this total, because this is an ongoing, they were talking about, like a renewable contract and all that stuff. Some of this, for several years, we're gonna be, it looks like we're gonna be in major
So,
renovations, a lot of engineering. I mean, in reality, but at some point, that's gonna go away, so I didn't really understand why that's included in the ongoing, continuing contract price for these services. I mean, like, that should be more taken out in individual projects, is what I would say. And get our annual fee down under 300.
so if we reduce the 200 quantity on line item 4 to 160, that would accomplish that. There are going to be engineering needs just on an ongoing basis, but Commissioner Kelton's point is completely valid, like trying to, not have a fixed cost when you can have more of that lumped into the project cost, because those projects will be finished after certain times. We can make that change as a part of this, if that's what,
Well, that was my intent. That was I was one person, that was my suggestion on Friday, or
yes, sir.
my input.
Would that, the total number of hours, say for engineer, you've got 200 hours, I mean, is that a negotiable? After the vote today, could we negotiate that?
Well, I would say we could, if the vote could be contingent on reducing that, if we reduce that to 160, that would get you to a bottom line number of 297, 280. But yes, sir, however you'd like to handle that. And we also visited in the IT discussion, just so that or in the IT committee meeting, just so that everyone's within that these projects that y'all are facing, replacing computers, replacing infrastructure, et cetera. Commissioner Kelton knows and the technology committee knows that there may be hours as a part of a project, but the point is that's a one-time cost. Let's not have that built into the fixed cost. And as I stated just previously, this is something that we bring back to the court even in the budget workshop for this next
fiscal year, like if there are additional changes that y'all want to make at that point. The court elected to go through a request for qualification process because y'all aren't at a position to where Brown County's not in a position to say, here's a specific scope for a specific item that we need, and we need 12 of these and 50 of these. What's the price? It is a situation where there's ongoing needs, there are major needs, and everyone, I think, on the court understands that. We've talked about that at length. So it's kind of like, where do you start? And so this was our recommendation as far as hours, based on the county's requirements, based on data that we have from other customers, and we talked about that at length on Friday as well. We looked at another county that is not y'all's size, but has a lot of IT needs, and compared them to how many employees they have, how many, what their population is, et cetera, to kind of come up with some factors of what we project the amount of time needed for Brown County would be moving forward, and that's what this was based on.
Is there any way to cut that technician on-site figure?
It's already, first of all, on a cost that is, the hourly that you see is reduced because we're trying to be a part of a bid process with the state of Texas, so it's based on that. And then we've already discounted it. To answer your question, I think if the county wants to reduce your requirements there in the request for qualification, like of how often we have to have someone here, how many hours a day we have to have someone here, then that could be visited. But I think given the constraints the county's put as part of the process, that's what that line item would be. And we talked about on Friday that, it's not just that one person here, it's you have to backfill the position when someone's out, training, insurance, all of that.
Just, I can deal with that. I said, that's not me, it's one person. But that's kind of where I was at.
Your opinion matters. So,
Sorry, that's my misunderstanding, Commissioner Kelton. So when it was discussed on Friday, how do you reduce these costs? I said the position I see that you could reduce the cost would be to cut the engineering line in half. It was discussed that we need to be, closer to that 300 number. If I took that as 303 is close to 300, 297 is also close to 300. So that's what you're
Compared to the lower side.
I understand. And that's what this process is about. And so
I hate to build in cost into something that's gonna be repeating yearly, because if if things were to go bad in a bad year, then here we are hung it. And so it's projects are there, sometimes we just don't do a project. Or if we don't have the finance for that, but if you got this stuff built, you're gonna keep paying that. It's like one of those deals that just keeps going on. So I'm trying to reduce that number to as low a number as possible so we can live with it better, is my thinking on that.
does anybody else have any questions? Well, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the framework and the authority to continue negotiations.
What was the number you said it would come down to? You said two.
So just to be completely clear, line item 4 is currently a quantity of 200 hours. That would be 160 hours instead. And your bottom line would be 297,280. And we'd update the printout, the Schedule A to reflect that.
That would make me happier.
Thank you. All right.
And might I add one thought? So all this has been looked at closely for a long time by a lot of people. And I know and I'm not supposed to speak to that, but there's not anybody here that's inadequate or whatever, just that somebody stood out to be the most qualified in this process. There wasn't anybody that was not qualified to do some of this work and all, but there was an individual company that we determined to be the most qualified, and substantially so from what we found. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a very, very good point to make in that, I hate hearing the word incompetent, because I don't know of anybody that's used the word incompetent. And that kind of shocked me that a comment was made that someone had said that a particular company was incompetent. And I have never heard that word used until today. And there was certainly nobody on the committee or that looked at the request for qualifications that said any one particular company was incompetent, because they weren't, they were all three competent. Just one was better than the other two.
One is more specialized in this area. I mean, it's just, well. we
And when you
brought
say
that
a
in.
lot of people, you're talking about the IT committee that was appointed by you guys, has it been a year? I feel like it's. been
Almost a
long.
year ago, or probably a little over a year ago. It was like in October, I think, of 21.
I just want the public to know there's been a lot of thought and a lot of, I mean, I hadn't been there all of them. I've been in several fields, but this is not a willy-nilly off the cuff thing. This has been a lot of time and effort and thought gone into this, a lot of research. And we thank y'all for doing all the footwork on that.
All right, anybody want to make a motion?
I'm not sure how to word it.
What do we need?
A motion to approve entering into a contract with Goldsmith Solutions and authorizing me to sign on behalf of Brown County.
Not to exceed
Amount not to
With an
exceed.
amount not to exceed $297,000.
2019, 280, 2,900, 297,280. if I remember correctly. So yes, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Okay, so it passes. Thank you.
Opposed.
Thank you for your work on the committee.
Yes. Theirs, they did most of the footwork. We just sat there and listened to the yes.
But sometimes that's the hardest part. We have there's nothing else on the agenda, so,
So what are we just doing, negotiating? I asked what it is, we're still negotiating on.
did you see the actual contract?
No.
There's
So
still.
you were looking at-
Some of the terms need to be, we've gone back and forth.
Not a dollar amount, just terms about
Rule.
who does what, working on holiday.
Contractual.
Okay, so we talked about it. Renewable contract. But still, that's on the wording, we're still working on.
All right, any comments?
The bills have already been.
Did they not come back?
That was at
last week.
They did, I've got a phone.
Both of
Thank you.
Okay, we're adjourned at 10, whatever, 18.